And welcome back to part 3 of the Call of Duty 4 custom character modeling tutorial series. In this part of the tutorial, we will continue in Maya, completing the most tedious step in the whole tutorial: skeleton rig setup and rigging. Let's begin with downloading and unzipping the MP skeleton rig.zip into your model export folder. The link to this zip is in the description of this tutorial. This skeleton is the default multiplayer skeleton I created to use with your models. It is not perfect, but I'm tweaking it as I go. While you're waiting for it to download, let me explain the increment file exports and saves we have done thus far. We now have an original 3ds file, a cleaned object file, and an MB file of type Maya binary. This is how I like to work, having these increment saves in case I need to refer back to these files, start over, or retrieve lost information is a good modeling practice to follow. Now this section of the tutorial will cover rigging your model with a default skeleton. We will not cover how to create bones from scratch, since there is a completely different tutorial, and because there are a lot of tutorials here on YouTube that can show you how to do that. In addition, this section is mainly in Maya, and showing how to use the most basic tools and functions within can be time consuming. I will show only the Maya tools and functions related to modeling for Call of Duty 4. If you've been able to follow me thus far in Maya, you might be okay to proceed. If not, I suggest you brush up on your Maya skills before proceeding. A few videos on using the rotate tool and the move tool will facilitate your learning experience. Okay, and we are back. Now that the skeleton rig has been downloaded and unzipped into your model export folder, you should now have an MP skeleton rig folder. Open the MP skeleton rig.mb in Maya and have a look around. Upon initial look at the skeleton rig, it may look simple enough, but don't be fooled. There are many joints, bones, and tags associated with this skeleton. Familiarizing yourself with them will not only avoid problems, but will help you understand how the model should be rigged. One of the many features this skeleton rig has is that it's read-only, so you can't overwrite your default rig. Once you open the rig, go ahead and save it into your models folder with your model's name, followed by the suffix _rigged, thus adding another increment save to your project. Now let's import your model into the skeleton rig scene. The one we want to import is the Iron Man MB we did in the last section. Using your layers, hide the bind skeleton layer, select your model, the entire model, and add it to the XXX Lot 1 layer. So add these selected objects, double click that layer, and let's rename it to our model. Go ahead and bring back your bind skeleton. What we're going to do now is we're going to rotate and resize your model to fit the overall height of the skeleton. Here are some tips to help you. Playing music from your favorite artist during this entire process will put you in the mood and motivate you and not frustrate you. Remember to have fun. Use your channel box to accurately rotate your model. Now in the front view, center your model to the Z-axis. Use your layers efficiently. Reference out the skeleton so you don't accidentally select it. Begin resizing your model. Double check if your model is standing on the XY grid. And continue resizing your model so that the J shoulder joints sit in the center of the shoulders mesh. Then recenter your model to the Z-axis. Move to the side view and reposition your model so that the J shoulder joints sit in the center of the shoulder's mesh. Go to perspective view and check your work. At this early stage of rigging your model, accuracy should not be your priority because we are preparing the model for your initial export. When you are ready to begin rotating and resizing the bones to fit your model, remember to rotate, then resize. Begin aligning the bones to your model, starting with the legs and working your way to the top. I have included an information bar at the top to identify the bones that I am adjusting. Pay close attention to the names of the joints I have selected. The names of the joints give you an idea of where they should go. The bones should sit center and snug into the mesh. Notice here I'm selecting two joints at the same time to make the adjustments simultaneously. The J ankle joints over the position of the ankle, and the J ball joints over the position of the ball end of your model's feet. Again, accuracy is not that important at this early stage of our rigging. We're merely preparing the model for its initial export. Next, we'll make some adjustments to the torso. The pelvis bone should sit between the belt and the crotch area. This bone here is the torso stabilizer. Here we have two joints in the same spot. We have the spine lower and we also have the back low. Make your adjustments to both of these joints by using the J-spine lower to ensure you have both joints selected and that both joints move simultaneously. The distance between this joint and the other joints that make up the spine is roughly about the same. This one is the J-spine upper and the back mid. Again, make your adjustments to both of these joints using the J-spine upper to ensure you have both joints selected and that both joints move simultaneously. And again, make your adjustments to these joints so that the joints that make up the spine are roughly equal distances. The next joint is the J-spine 4. Also tweak this joint so that it is of equal distance. Now check the position of the J shoulder joints. Most likely they will have moved. Tweak the equal distances of the joints that make up the spine so that the J shoulder joints again sit in the middle of the shoulder's mesh. Once you're happy with your adjustments, let's go ahead and move on to the arms. Again, when making adjustments to any of the joints, be sure you rotate, then adjust. To save time on the video, I'm only going to rig one arm and one hand. First joint we'll talk about is the J shoulder right. I'm going to rotate this into position. I'm also going to rotate in the top view. Determine where the elbow is located on your model. What I like to do is I like to go into my perspective view and select a few edges around the model where the elbow is located. Then go back to your side go back to your front view, and that gives you a rough idea of where the elbow goes. The elbow is made up of two joints. You have the J elbow right, and also you have the J elbow bulge. It is very important that you select both of these joints when making your adjustments. I'm going to move this joint into position. I'm also going to check my perspective view, make sure it's okay. And now I can rotate this into position. This particular model has a shield over his hand, so the position of the hand is just below the shield. I'm also going to make the adjustments in my top view. And now I'm going to move the J wrist into position. In addition to the J wrist, go ahead and align your J wrist twist. This joint should sit in your model's wrist, just over the J elbow bone. Check your progress in the top view. Next, we'll be talking about the hands. The tendons of the hands, shown here in green, can be moved into place to make up the size of the palm. This is because there are no animation sets nor keys assigned to these tendons. They move with the J wrist. Now, rigging the hands can be tricky. Setting up your 4 views into suitable positions focused on the hands facilitate this process. Set up your side, your top, and your front views so that they are focused on the hand you are working on. For your perspective view, I find it works best if you focus the camera looking up into the palm of the hand, aligning the edge loops of the fingers. Begin by aligning the first joint of each finger into position, utilizing all 4 views. We'll start with the thumb. Now we'll move on to the fingers. Rotate your model in perspective view so that you align your edges up. And use all 4 views to align that finger. Depending on the amount of polygons your model has, the edge loops give you a rough idea of where the joints should go. Lining those up will help identify where to place them. Avoid selecting any of the tags or any other things that are around the hand there, and avoid moving those as well. Be sure you're only selecting the joint that you want to select. Once you have everything lined up, the tendons lined up, go ahead and take it in perspective view. Go to shaded view if you need to, and just make sure that each one of those joints are sitting snug and centered in between the mesh. Now we can begin lining up our joints to each finger. And I'm going to do each joint at a time, each finger at a time. So you see the process here. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this now that they're in position. Let's zoom in here. I can kind of tell which finger is the pinky there. Remember that the joints will set according to your model's edge loops and mesh definitions. And take it in all four views and rotate. And once all that's taken care of, go ahead and align that joint. Let's go ahead and rotate this joint. Now go ahead and resize the joint. Align your your edges. And rotate and tweak your model. Notice here that the joint does not extend to the edge of the fingertips. Now I'll work on the ring finger. Again, line up those edge loops. Now the middle finger. And now the pointer finger or the index finger. Line up the edge loops. Now that you've aligned all your joints, take a look around in shaded view and see if you don't have any protruding joints or bones. You can see right in here I have this one here that's protruding. Seems like it needed to be raised up a little bit to kind of match the hand. It was a little further back. So let's go ahead and adjust that. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this in shaded view while I'm adjusting this finger so you can see it move back. So it needs to look like it needs to be moved back. Perfect. continue looking around, checking for any protruding. Go into wireframe. We didn't do the thumb. The thumb would be last. Looks okay. Alright, let's do the thumb. The thumb is a little tricky. To start out with the thumb, we're going to go ahead and rotate this bone here, line it up. Alright, line up your faces. You can see right in through here. I've lined these faces up right in through there for this joint here to receive this joint. Alright, let's rotate that joint. Alright, let's move that joint into place. I'm going to line up these faces here, these edges here. I'm going to take a look at it in all four views and see if it needs to be adjusted here. Alright, well that does the hand. Now we do that to the other side. And I'm going to skip that part and we'll come back to it. And when we come back, we'll go ahead and do the head. And I am back. I have completed the left arm and hand. It took about 8 minutes, stopping for sips of my coffee. Now let's make some adjustments to the neck and the head. The neck joint is made up of two joints. We have the neck and we also have the J-neck. When making adjustments to both of these joints, use the J-neck to ensure that you have both joints selected and that both joints move simultaneously. Position this joint where the neck meets the torso. Now these bones here shown in green contain joints at the ends to animate parts of the face. This group at the top are for eyelids and brows. This group in the middle are for cheeks, lips, and mouth. And this joint at the bottom is for the crease where the chin meets the neck. Most MP models don't have animation keys nor sets assigned to the face joints used for animating the face. I included them in the skeleton rig for completeness, and to give you a general visual location of the main head joints. I will not use these face joints when binding. The head is also made up of two joints. We have the head, and we also have the J-head. When making your adjustments to these joints, be sure to use the J-head to ensure you have both joints selected and that both joints move simultaneously. And position the head using the face joints as a guide to match your model. The last joint is the J-head end. Position this joint so it sits at the top of your model's head. Some of the joints that we did not cover are the clavicle, the shoulder raise, the coat rear, the coat front, and also the hip twist. I will explain why when we go into binding why we did not use these joints. For now, we are done rigging the model. In the next section, part 4, we will talk about binding, otherwise known as skinning, and also using our Call of Duty 4 model exporter plugins for Maya. Until next time.